topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask Good Questions podcast, broadcasting live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. This week and every week, we will reach for a higher purpose in money and life, as well as a focus on health and wellness. Now, let's join your host, Bonita Bell Anderson, as together we start with Asking Good Questions.
Hey, welcome to the Ask Good Questions podcast. I'm coming at you from Hawaii, where we're just skirting a hurricane at the moment. And I am so excited about this topic today. I have a personal interest in maximizing travel for myself. And so I would love to invite to the proverbial podcast stage my guest, Tim Walker.
Hey, Bonita, thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, Tim. Let me tell people a little bit about you. We're going to be talking about traveling for far less than you might expect that you could. And so Tim is an expert in helping people unlock the secrets of free travel. So for years, his family barely made enough money to live on, let alone go do crazy, wonderful travel all over the world. And he learned, he finally somehow, as the universe showed him how to earn thousands of dollars of free travel. He has now earned over 3 million points, and he's got a wife and little kiddos, and he travels the world for free. And he's turned that into a business that called Travel Multiplier, correct?
Yep, that's it.
And he's helped a lot of people. I'm actually going through his course right now because I wanted to, I've done this kind of in a way for a long time, but not nearly to the extent that he's doing it. So he's really passionate about helping others experience this. And so he learned that hacking your way to free travel changed everything for himself and for his family. And so he wanted to do that for others. So Tim, I'm just excited to get into this. There's a lot of things to talk about, a lot of little nuances. So just also, before I let Tim start, I want to make sure you know that at the end of the podcast, you'll be able to go to the podcast website, and you'll be able to click on bonus downloads, and there you'll be able to find Tim's information if you want to find out more about what he's doing. All right. It's askgoodquestionspodcast.com. So, all right, Tim, exactly what in the heck is travel hacking?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the big question that everybody asks. What is travel hacking? And travel hacking is really a strategic process of layering and leveraging credit card rewards for thousands of dollars in free travel every year. The good news is travel hacking is not a pyramid scheme. It's not a scam. It doesn't involve timeshare pitches. It is simply a process through which you can unlock the secrets of free travel.
Yeah, I've been through way too many timeshare pitches. So how did you first discover this? How in the world did you go from, I don't have any money to travel, to being able to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in the northeast corner of Pennsylvania. For those of you that are fans of The Office, I live just south of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And in the work that I do here, I'm on the front lines of community development work in my city, working with hundreds of people coming out of homelessness, addiction, poverty, incarceration, crisis, trauma, and everything in between. And so this is something that I've had the privilege of being a part of for about 15 years now. But what I found is, as exciting as it was to have hundreds of stories of transformation that I've had the privilege of being a part of, our team has had the privilege of being a part of, it was equally exhausting being crushed under the weight of compassion fatigue that type of gritty, intense vocation really entails. And so it felt like there was this annual cycle that my family was on where, man, we just felt like we barely make enough money to live on. We don't make enough money to travel. So every year it feels like we got to beg and borrow just to be able to get a vacation. And even the types of vacations that we were taking were the types of vacations that leave you more exhausted than when you left. Because when you're trying to cut costs, oftentimes you have to cut corners, which often preempt you from being able to take refreshing vacations that we all need. So
can I give you a story?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one time several years ago, and I'm coming at you from Hawaii. I'm on the island of Oahu doing a senior mission with my husband right now for another 10 months or so. And this was a timeshare pitch. And it was like one of those things where you get a free hotel. So we got a free hotel on Kauai in exchange for coming and listening to a timeshare pitch on Kauai. Well, guess what? When we got to Kauai, it was the suckiest, yuckiest, cheap motel that they could possibly put us up in. And then they wanted us to go to this luxurious resort to do a timeshare pitch through this. And I was like, never again, ever, never going to do that.
Yes, that is very similar to my breaking point that led me into travel hacking. So there was a year where somebody reached out and they said, "Hey, we love who you are and the mission that your family is involved in. So tell you what, we would like to gift you 10 days at a beach house in Cape May, New Jersey, which is right on the ocean." So we were so excited until we showed up and we found that the house that we were loaned was mold-filled, mosquito-infested. We literally had to spend 2 days cleaning this disgusting place before we even got to get going with our vacation. So at that point, I was like, you know what, that moment broke me. And I really said, you know what, I don't want to grow up with my kids saying, "Hey, remember how Dad used to take us on crap vacations every year because we were involved in frontline urban work and couldn't afford anything better?" So it really sent me on this search. Like, what do I do to overcome this problem that we bump up against on an annual basis? So I searched and I scoured and I tried all kinds of different things. And eventually I found travel hacking. So I found it. And I'll be honest, I had the same reaction that many of you might have right now listening to this. I thought it was too good to be true. But what I found is that my desperation outweighed my skepticism. At that point, I was willing to try anything. So I gave it a try. I took an online course, which really taught a little bit of the basics of it, which really ignited in me this passion and this understanding to go, wait, hold on, there's so much more here. So I ended up mastering travel hacking and I earned 1.2 million travel rewards points in my first 9 months. So I started doing it. I got into it, started taking some incredible trips. And what I found was all of the things that I had doubted and feared about it, the opposite was actually true. This was a true and complete solution to the annual problem that my family faced, where we didn't make enough money to travel. We never got to travel to nice places or do nice things. Now we're traveling multiple times a year to incredible luxurious vacations that leave us coming back so refreshed and replenished.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is, being a financial advisor, I'm always trying to help people. I'm doing all this financial education to help people maximize the money that they have and save more and all that. And this really resonated with me because it's like, how do you maximize what you've got? How do you maximize and maybe think outside the box on how to do things in a better way? Because somebody that's retired might say, well, I don't have time to save, and it's like, this is such a better way to think about how to be able to travel. So What's the most luxurious travel experience that you'd say you've had so far?
Yeah, probably the trip that my wife and I just came back from about
Ooh,
a
tell us
month
about it.
ago, 3 weeks ago, I guess. So this year, my wife and I are celebrating our 10th wedding anniversary, which is pretty exciting. And we decided that we wanted to do something pretty extravagant to celebrate. So we got to be able to take a 2-week trip to Europe. So we flew to and from Europe in lay flat business class seats. And so we
That's
got
the only way
to,
to go.
yeah, it was so nice. Not only do you get to sleep on the plane, you get like 3-course catered meals on the plane.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
so nice, so enjoyable. We got to do that. And then we spent time in the Netherlands, Germany, Poland, the Czech Republic, Austria, and Switzerland over that 2-week period. And we got to stay in incredible places. Probably my favorite place that we stayed in Lucerne, Switzerland, which is a gorgeous lake
Been
town.
there.
Right
I lived in Europe.
Okay.
I was in
Okay.
Europe.
So
Yeah,
you know what it
I've
is.
been there. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what it is, Lucerne, Switzerland is a lake town right at the base of Mount Pilatus in the Swiss Alps. And so we literally got to this place, and as we were checking in, they said, "Hey, we wanted to let you know all of these different things about your room, and by the way, we have a pillow menu." And I was like, "A what?" He said, we have a pillow menu at our hotel. You have 15 different pillows to choose from because we want to make sure that every guest gets a luxurious experience and the best sleep they've had all year. They definitely delivered on that promise. And when I wasn't laying on that pillow, I was opening the balcony porch that we had, which overlooked Lake Lucerne, Mount Pilatus. Overlooked the lake.
I
It
can
was
picture
absolutely gorgeous. So what's incredible, total up the whole trip, this trip should have cost us $25,000.
Oh,
that's what
absolutely.
Other people would pay for this type of trip.
Yep.
We got the entire thing free with our points. We literally didn't pay a dime for 2 weeks in Europe in some of the most luxurious places with some of the best travel accommodations. And we only used a fraction of our points to be able to do that. That's actually the 4th of 5 trips that we get to take this year, all for free, thanks to our points.
Awesome. Well, how does somebody get started with travel hacking if they're brand new, if they've never even heard about this concept?
Yep. So there's really 3 key steps to be able to navigate travel hacking. Step 1 is to determine your travel goals, to figure out like, where would you like to go? What would you like to do? How do you prefer to travel? And so the great thing is there's no one size fits all way to engage in travel hacking. Regardless of who you are and who you like and how you like to travel, you can do it for free with travel hacking. So some people prefer cruise ships. Other people prefer mountain cabins. Some people like beach houses. Other people prefer all-inclusive resorts. Some people dream of Disney with their kids. Other people want to fly their family across the country. Whatever it is, whatever you're dreaming of, travel hacking can really make those dreams a reality. And one of the things I find is if you are where I was, persistently in a place where you can't afford to travel, sometimes it can be really hard to dream big. And so my challenge to everybody, especially if it's been a long time since you've had a nice vacation, or maybe you just have never really had that type of high-end vacation, my question to you is, where would you travel if money wasn't an obstacle? Because for many of us, money is our obstacle to travel. So when you think about that first step to be able to determine your travel goals, think about, where would you travel if money wasn't an obstacle? Because travel hacking will remove the obstacle of money for you. So that would be step 1. Step 2 is then signing up strategically for the right credit cards that align with your travel goals. So there are a number of different travel rewards credit cards out there. And the reality is you want to be able to get the ones that fit your travel goals. So for instance, if you're somebody who's terrified of flying, don't get a card that's mostly good for airline points, because you might want to use your points in a completely different direction. What I often encourage people is the first and best card to start with is the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. So with that card, once you get it, if you spend $5,000 in your first 3 months, you'll get 75,000 bonus points, which is worth about $1,200 in free travel. What's even better is if you get that card and rather than adding your spouse or significant other as an authorized user, you could actually refer your spouse or significant other to sign up separately for the exact same card. So you'll get a 75,000 point bonus when you spend the money. They'll get a 75,000 point bonus when they spend the money. And then you get a 15,000 point referral bonus for referring your significant other. So you can more than double the amount of points that you get right off the bat just by signing up for that one card. Then comes step 3. Step 3 is to maximize those rewards for free travel. So the average consumer is pretty familiar with credit cards and credit card rewards. And what most people get is most people average about 1 to 3% in cash back on the money that they spend with their credit cards. The amazing thing about travel hacking is you're actually redeeming your everyday spending for the equivalent of 20, 30, even 40% back just on your everyday spending at the grocery store, the gas station, on Amazon, all because you are not just earning points, but then you're maximizing those points for free travel and the value of them. So I'll give you 2 examples. You might ask, okay, what could I do with the 180,000 Chase points that I could earn if my spouse and I both sign up separately for that card? Well, 180,000 points this past winter took my wife and I from the freezing cold tundra of the Northeast when it was 15 degrees. We hopped on a plane, flew down to Cancun, Mexico, where it was 85 degrees when we stepped off the plane. And we stayed in an all-inclusive oceanfront resort that retailed for $1,500 per night. I enjoyed filet mignon steaks multiple times a day. My wife got to go to the spa. We were able to get some of the best sleep we've gotten all year in an extremely luxurious room. And other people would have paid $6,000 for the trip that we took. For us, it only cost us 180,000 points. We didn't pay a dime. So we were able to maximize the value of those points because rather than cashing that out for $1,800 in cash back, like many people would do, we took those 180,000 points and we leveraged them for a $6,000 all-inclusive trip to Cancun. You could even take the trip that I just described to you that we went on to Europe.
Yeah.
So a one-way flight from Philadelphia to Amsterdam in a lay flat business class seat cost $4,100.
Yep.
And while everyone around us paid that, we got the exact same seat for 55,000 points. So most people would cash out those 55,000 points for $550 cash back. And we almost 8x'd the value of that by being able to redeem it for a $4,100 plane ticket, which was absolutely incredible. So those 3 steps. Step 1, determine your travel goals. Step 2, sign up for the right credit cards that align with your goals. And step 3, maximize your points for travel rewards. Those are the 3 key steps that my family and I have been following for the last few years, earning over a dozen free trips and enjoying the freedom of free travel in some really incredible places.
Well, what do you think? What would you say is the most common misconception that people have, or the most common myth that you wish people would understand and straighten out?
Yeah, so I would say there's a few quick hitters with that. Number 1, the biggest misconception is this is too good to be true. And that's the exact same thought I had when I first encountered it. So many people think it's too good to be true. Other people might think that it will mess up their credit score. Actually, I would tell you, since I started engaging in travel hacking, and the way I teach people to do it is also built off of a foundation of financial literacy. So this isn't about spending more money. This isn't about spending money that you don't have. This isn't about racking up debt. The way I teach people to do this is to simply strategically use the right credit cards on your everyday spending, pay that off on time and in full every month. No debt, no late fees, just the freedom of free travel. But sometimes people fear like, oh, if I open up credit cards, then it's going to hurt my credit score. That's actually a big myth. My credit score has grown, not shrunk, since I started engaging in travel hacking. Another time people will say that they fear that, hey, am I going to have to open up and manage like all kinds of different credit cards?
Right.
No, you're not, because the way I teach it is quality matters more than quantity. So travel hacking isn't about frantically signing up for all kinds of different cards. It's about signing up for the right cards and layering those cards in a way where they stack on each other to be able to maximize value. I would say the last myth or misconception that people have is they often think, hey, you have to be a high spender in order to earn enough points to make this worth it. Yeah. I would tell you from my background, you can tell I'm not a high earner historically, nor am I a high spender. I actually make less and spend less than the average American does. And yet I've been able to take my below average earnings, my below average spending, and turn it into over 4 million travel rewards points now, which has been incredible.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I think that makes you even more credible, because, people would say, well, it's okay for him, but no, I mean, you have the background to prove that no, everyone should be able to do this. They just need to learn how. So let's kind of pivot a little bit. So you're talking about, you've got all these terms you're talking about. What's the difference between cash back, points, miles? How would somebody, what are the difference between those, and how do you decide what you focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. So really there's 5 different types of credit cards that are primarily on the market. Number one, the most common is cashback. So typically with a cashback card, you're getting somewhere between 1% and 3%, or sometimes 1 and 3 cents back per dollar spent. That is a fixed rate. It's a fixed number. That will always kind of, you'll get that whenever you swipe your card based on all of the different transactions and categories. The second type of credit card that's really the most valuable when it comes to travel hacking is a transferable points card. So with a transferable points card, you could cash those points out for cash back if you want. You get about a penny per point, just like you would with a cashback card. But those travel points are actually worth significantly more when you cash them out for travel, or when you redeem them for free travel. So with a transferable points card, like the Chase Sapphire Preferred card I mentioned, there are like 17 different airline and hotel partners that you could transfer those points to.
So let me stop you for a minute.
Yep.
Are you saying you go on to the credit card website to book your travel using those points, or not?
No, not in that way. What you do is, I'll give you an example. I just booked a flight recently. I booked a flight for my family to fly out to Chicago for a conference that I was going to. And so my Chase Sapphire Preferred card that I mentioned, one of the many airline partners is United Airlines. So I took my points from Chase and I transferred those into my United Airlines account, so that those points became United miles that I then used to book those flights for my family this past summer. So you can do that with all kinds of different hotel and airline partners based on the different credit cards, whether it's Chase, American Express, Capital One, Citi, and others.
So the key is the card has to be okay. I get it now. The key has to be that it's a transfer, that you can transfer points to an airline.
Yeah, so that's a big one. There are other specific cards. Airline and hotel cards would be the number 3 and 4 in that list. So all of those different companies have co-branded credit cards that are specific to their particular program. Maybe it's Delta, maybe it's Hilton, maybe it's Hyatt. whatever it would be. And those can be really valuable as well, again, depending on your travel goals and your travel preferences. And then the fifth category would kind of be a variation on those transferable points that you actually just mentioned a minute ago, Benita. That would be bank portal points. So with some of those cards, you can book travel through the bank's travel portal. So it might be, hey, I'm going to book this next trip through American Express because I can use my American Express points to book, this flight, this hotel, this experience, this rental car, something like that. So all 5 of them have value in different ways for different reasons, but some of them have superior value based on the specific opportunities that they make possible for you.
Wow. Well, okay. So you're talking about layering cards. So then the next thing that comes up is, how do you keep track of all your points and miles and expiration dates without going crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of things. I would say in general, this is where quality matters more than quantity. So kind of tying it back to even what we were just talking about, there's a foundational principle that not all points are created equal. There are some points that are significantly more valuable than others. So for instance, if you're listening to this, thinking about getting into travel hacking, the chase points that I mentioned through the Sapphire card are some of the best, most valuable points on the market. There are other ones that they might give you like 0.5 cents per point in value. They sound good, look good, thanks to marketing departments, but they really aren't valuable. They really don't get you very far or very much. So it's important to be able to distinguish that. But as you go through it, again, it's not like you're juggling all kinds of different cards and deadlines and details. I would say the average family signs up for about 2 to 3 credit cards that they end up getting. And that earns them over $5,000 in free travel. So they're able to do that pretty quickly, pretty easily. I offer all kinds of digital tools and resources in the services that I offer to be able to make it like effective and efficient for anybody who's doing it. And really my encouragement is always just go at your own pace. You don't have to do more than you have capacity for at the moment. So take it one card at a time, take it one trip at a time. Oftentimes for me, what I do is I only carry 1, maybe 2 credit cards in my wallet. It's not like I have this paralysis every time I show up to the checkout and I go, oh no, I got to do some serious calculus to figure out which one of these, however many cards I have to use at this place. No, nobody has time, money, nobody has time, energy, or focus for that. Oftentimes, I guess another myth that people have about travel hacking is that it's going to take a lot of time. And it doesn't. I would tell you, I'm an extremely busy person. I don't have time or energy or margin to be able to chase all kinds of things, nor do I want to trade saving money for wasting time.
Yeah.
So for me, I would tell you, travel hacking for me, it's like half an hour a month.
Okay.
Like I'm not expelling an exorbitant amount of time on this. It's quick, simple, easy. It really is about learning the system. And then once you learn the system, you have clarity and confidence to be able to navigate it really, really well. So yeah, it really is just taking it one step at a time. And engaging it as you can, when you can. And what people often tell me is, hey, I thought this was, or this was confusing before you taught me. And I thought this was going to be a time constraint issue. But really, this is quick, easy, simple, and painless, which is really great.
Well, now, one thing that people might come up and say is, well, is this going to hurt my credit score? Or does it actually help? Why don't you go into that a little bit more? You kind of touched on it, but let's talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are several different factors that credit score is based off of. One of the largest is on-time payments. And so one of the ways it boosts your credit score, about 30 to 35% of your credit score, is actually factored off of whether or not you make on-time payments. So if you think about the exponential nature of this, let's say you've been a one credit card person for the last 2 decades. Well, if you go from one credit card to say 3 credit cards now, okay, so now you have 3 different payments showing up on your credit report every month. And if those are 3 on-time payments, well, now that's a big boost to your credit score because you're having triple the amount of on-time payments showing up. One of the things I do, even just for efficiency, is what I teach people to do is as soon as you get your new credit card, whatever it is, let's say you get the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, set up an online account and go in there and set up auto pay, so that it pays the statement balance on time and in full every month. So then you don't even have to think about it. It doesn't matter if you get busy or stressed or distracted. You're not going to forget about it. You're not going to fall behind on it. And that actually is a big boost to your credit score as well, because not carrying a balance month to month is another 30% of your credit score. So the percentage of credit used accounts for about 30% of your credit score as well. So 2 very simple things: not carrying a balance and paying things on time give 65% of your credit score an automatic boost, which can be really helpful. And then there's, smaller, more nuanced details along the way. But those 2 overarching realities just make it really easy. What you will find is my credit score when I started, I was at about 750 when I started this. So I had excellent credit and I didn't want anything to negatively affect that. Normally what you'll find is your credit score may drop by 10 to 20 points for a very short period of time. But while my credit score started at 750, when I started this journey, my credit score pretty much lives above 800 at all times. Now, despite the fact that I have multiple credit cards that I'm using, because those credit cards are working for me, not working against my credit score.
There you go. Well, okay, that sounds great. Now, let's pivot back to actually getting out there and doing some traveling. How do you find award availability for flights and hotels, especially during peak seasons? Because another thing people might say is, oh, I wouldn't be able to travel like at Christmas. So how do you find that award availability?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy in a lot of ways. You could do it directly through the airline, hotel, resort provider in a lot of ways, because oftentimes when you go to search what's available, you can search whether or not you want them to display the price in points or cash. And so it's really easy to go on and, I did this. I went like prime season into New York City for my wife and I to be able to go see a Broadway play. We got a luxury hotel overlooking Times Square and Broadway. And I went right to the hotel website, searched via points. There it was. I booked it with points. Deal done. Other students that have taken my course have even said this has actually empowered their holiday travel, not restricted it. I got a text from one student. He said, "Hey, I just want to say thank you because my family lives across the country. And with 3 little kids, the thought of driving multiple long days to get there and back is excruciating.
Yes.
We've never been able to afford flights, but because we now have travel points, because of what you taught us, we're actually able to fly our entire family of 5 across the country for free on Thanksgiving week." So the great thing is there really aren't like blackout dates. It's not like you have to, these are not random obscure deals that you have to get lucky in order to find or grab before they go away. It really is. You're searching for these just like you would search for any other, like flight, hotel, resort stay, any of those things. And oftentimes it's just a question of what currency are you paying with? Are you going to pay with cash or are you going to pay with points? And you're able to search via points right there. And it's really great.
Well, I would love to hear a story. What's your favorite success story for helping some family or some friends score free travel?
Yeah. So it's hard for me to pick one. I've got a few that I'll rapid fire. My best friend when I first got into this, he was probably the most skeptical. He would roll his eyes every time I talked to him about this. And then finally, he had a wedding anniversary coming up, and he gave me a call and he goes, "All right, what do I need to do this travel hacking thing?" So he did it, and they got 10 nights at an oceanfront all-inclusive golf resort in Cancun. So they got to do that. I had another engaged couple that came to me looking ahead to their honeymoon and said, "Hey, is there any way we can travel hack a honeymoon?" Absolutely. I helped them travel hack a honeymoon to Costa Rica at an all-inclusive resort for free. I've been able to help large families travel. Speaking of peak season, one family took their entire family of 7 and stayed in a luxury hotel in downtown Washington, D.C. on Memorial Day week. So they got to introduce their kids to all kinds of national history there, which was really cool. Another friend of mine just texted me and said, "Hey, I wanted to let you know, my wife is turning 40 next year, and I get to surprise her with a trip to Europe where we're going to be able to fly to and from Europe and lay flat business class seats and stay in some incredible European places, all because of travel hacking." So that's just a few of the dozens and dozens of stories that I've been able to help make possible by helping people to unlock the secrets of that type of free travel.
That sounds awesome. So are there any destinations? Let's talk a little bit about destinations. Do you think there's any destinations that are particularly easy, or on the other side, the flip side, difficult to travel hack your way into?
Yeah, I would say in general, I would say most destinations are easier than you would assume or fear. So for instance, one free bonus that I give with the course that I teach is I give people the ultimate guide to Disney on points. So many families dream of Disney and they want to go to Disney, but the thought of saving up months and months and thousands of dollars in order to be able to do it, that's a lot. And so Disney would be one of those places that people often go, "Oh, okay, come on. Can I really go to Disney on points?" Yeah, you could. I've got a whole guide that walks you through it start to finish. Other people would look at like international travel and think that it's likely beyond their reach. It's not. Actually, international business class flights are some of the best value you can get in points. And it's not just the type of business class that I flew in where it was like, you know, you had your own cubicle to yourself. Some of these you're flying in like apartments with like a living room couch and a shower. What? And like, yeah, it's unbelievable. The type of international flights that are available for free with your points. I would say probably the hardest places to go to would be 2 specific types. One would be the extremely luxurious. Think like over the water bungalows in Bora Bora.
Yes.
Can you do it? Yeah, eventually, but you're going to have to like spend a nest egg of points in order to do that. I would say that would be one where people in the points and miles world, they do it. They travel hack trips to Bora Bora, but it's not quick, it's not easy, and it is a significant amount of points. Yeah. Another one would probably be some of the private, off-the-grid, like non-consumer participating locations.
Yeah,
meaning like places where like you're booking, you know, with an individual or with a private mom and pop like chateau or something like that.
True.
Can you do it? Yes. You're definitely not going to get maximized value on it. But sometimes those can be a little bit harder to travel hack. You definitely don't get as great a value on your points for that. But I would say probably 85% of the world is easily accessible and doable on points. And in some cases, some people aren't where I was. Some people would say, hey, I'm not like broke and burned out, unable to travel. I'm already traveling, and this would simply enhance the travel that I'm already doing. I don't need to travel for free, but man, I would sure love to save $8,000 on my next trip.
Yeah,
that's great too. Whether you're travel starved and this would make travel possible, or you're a travel lover who's already engaged, and this isn't something where you're aspiring to free travel, but it would help you reallocate thousands of dollars that you used to spend on travel that now you could reallocate to other portions of your life. That would be really great as well.
Well, you've talked a little bit about how to make sure that you do the minimum amounts every month, like by just setting up auto pay. But what about the annual fees that some cards, I mean, well, there's a lot of cards that charge annual fees. Let's talk a little bit about those annual fees.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are cards that do have annual fees. For instance, the Chase Sapphire Preferred card is a $95 annual fee. But what you often find is that the value that those cards with annual fees give you far exceeds the cost. So I used to be somebody that was staunchly against annual fees. I used to think it was the biggest waste of money, was never willing to touch it. And then what I found is, okay, because I have a Chase Sapphire Preferred card, I get a $6,000 trip to Cancun. So you tell me I got to pay $95 a year for the card that made that possible? Yeah, that's a no-brainer. But beyond the travel perks, there are also everyday perks that a lot of those cards offer as well. So for instance, my Chase Sapphire card has monthly DoorDash credits. Other cards that I have give me monthly Dunkin' credit. There are some cards that will give you free Uber or Lyft credit every month. Other ones will get you into airport lounges where now you don't have to pay for food in the airport. Now you get to relax in a quiet place with catered food. There are all kinds of different value adds that the cards with annual fees get. Yet at the same time, this whole idea of quality matters more than quantity. What I have not done is I have not established an arsenal of cards where now I'm paying hundreds and thousands of dollars every year in annual fees just so I get to take some awesome trips. One of the cool things is there are actually a lot of no annual fee cards that have far more value than people ever realize at face value. And so it's not like you're racking up a ton of annual fees. And what I do is I actually help people figure out, as I teach them in my course, I help them to be able to make an informed decision about whether or not an annual fee is worth it for them. There's really not a black and white, cut and dry, cookie cutter answer. It really depends on who you are, what you want to do, and what you would actually benefit from. It doesn't matter if the card has all kinds of perks if they aren't perks that you're actually going to redeem and use and benefit from. So yeah, you're able to engage that in some really great ways that make it really easy to be able to navigate those decisions with an informed perspective.
Well, we're gonna have to wrap this up pretty. This always goes fast, but let's talk a little bit. I want to find out a little bit what your take is on like hotel loyalty programs, comparing that to airline programs in terms of value and perks. Is there a difference?
In terms of which types of programs give you more value or? Yeah. So I would say I don't have a loyalty to any airline or hotel chain. My loyalty is based on a recency bias of who's offering the best value at the moment. So I don't really like pin myself down to one particular. I will say I am extremely unloyal to budget travel. I'm unwilling to fly budget airlines. I'm unwilling to stay in crackpot motels. So it's got to be at a certain quality level. But in general, I would say there are a lot of different great airline and hotel loyalty programs out there. Some of what I teach in my course is helping you to be able to know which one of them are the most valuable, helping you understand the value of the points that they offer, how they treat consumers, all of those types of things. But again, there's not like one particular one that you're forced to stick with. It really depends on where you're going, what you're doing, what airline will get you there, and what hotel chains are present in that particular destination. So I'm pretty wide open with that. And able to really take all kinds of incredible opportunities from all kinds of different loyalty programs.
Sounds awesome. Well, we're going to have to wrap up. I would love to have you answer one last question. What's one step that listeners could take today to get closer to their first free flight or hotel stay.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say sign up for the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. That's the one step. And then for any future steps, feel free to connect with what I'm doing at Travel Multiplier. It's just travelmultiplier.com. I've had the privilege of walking start to finish with dozens and dozens of people, helping them unlock the secrets of free travel, helping them to avoid many of the common mistakes and be able to maximize the opportunity that's in front of you. So if you're interested in that, I would love to connect and love to help any way that I can.
Well, I am believing that this is just going to bring all kinds of value to a lot of people. So really appreciate your time today. And like Tim said, you can go find him at his website, and you'll also be able to find a little PDF flyer on the bonus downloads at the podcast website, so that you can have some more information on how to find Tim. And so, Tim, with that, I want to ask you to just leave your last parting thought for everyone.
Yeah, I would say that, I guess my parting thought would be investment in yourself through refreshing vacation is absolutely worth it. Your family is rarely going to be healthier than you are. Your workplace is rarely going to be healthier than you are. Wherever you are, if you're able to bring your best self there because you've invested in yourself through replenishing travel and vacation and experiences, it is absolutely worth it. So if you're able to get those for free, it's even better to be able to invest in yourself in that way.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for joining us today. And I want to just say thank you to everyone who has been here to take part in this. And thank you for joining the Ask Good Questions podcast.
Today's episode is over, but we did ask good questions again, didn't we? Don't miss out as we broadcast live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on W4CY Radio at W4CY.com. Join Benita Bell Anderson next week for more conversations with experts on finances, retirement, behavioral finance issues, health and wellness, and more. Until then, remember to ask good questions.